available. And Bridgewater is also connected with an Echolink, which is entirely different than this, but they're interchangeable. The Echolink is ham radio that uses strictly the internet.
Yeah.
Okay, but you have to be a ham to use it. And once again, it's nothing but various nodes throughout the world. You name it, it's there. And where I couldn't get in through the IRLP through 2 meters, and I went in and I seen it, and I was almost going to get in through Echolink. Now, I mean, that's 3 different modes.
It's another tool.
Yeah, you could be using it. Just incredible. Fortunately, I had another one in the car. Right when I got the one in the car, came in, talked to you guys, worked Steve, as he was saying, such a strong sound coming out of Massachusetts.
You know, that's kind of, you mentioned something about emergency management earlier.
Yep.
And all of these things are tools that, you know, let's say there is a hurricane or whatever weather disaster comes through and people say, well, I've got to call up my neighbor on the phone, and next thing you know, your phone service has gone down. Well, then what do? You know, you open the window and you yell out the window to them. But if the rain is coming in, you know, you can't do that. Well, with ham radio, we try to build in a lot of redundancy so that we would have, you know, maybe we would work them on an HF radio with an antenna outside, and maybe we'd work them on a VHF radio directly, or maybe we would use one of those modes that you talk about with the IRLP or the Echolink. So the idea being, you need to establish the contact, you have to get the message through.
Yep.
There's maybe different means that have to be done, have to be used. So it's
positively.
Yeah, and so the more we individually try to become familiar with this stuff, the better off we all are.
I think what has actually happened, and you're going to see it, if we ever get really whacked again with the storm, which I hope we don't, an awful lot of people, and I know people sitting close to me have done this too, they've done away with the hardwired telephone into your house. Everything is cell. Am I hitting a nerve here?
No, not yet.
But it's true. Everything is cell,
and
it's the first thing to go down. And even the telephone companies are telling everybody, you know, you're better off staying with at least one phone that's hardwired. And unless they do this, and because the cell sites aren't going to work. And I mean, they've seen it just at local sporting events where they opened up tickets for a certain period of time.
And the whole system comes down.
The whole system crashes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
People are out there. Yeah. It just, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, just driving through Braintree, fortunately has. You might as well hang up in certain areas coming through. You know, pay attention to your driving, which isn't a bad thing. Isn't a bad thing. But anyways, yeah, it's really and don't want to really get into it too much, but Salvation Army, American Red Cross, National Weather, National Hurricane Center, all connected through amateur radio. And
oh, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Big time, big time. Besides your local, and we've talked about the weather spotters. And people can listen to the 146.4 machine with their scanner. Just plug in 146.4. If you live in anywhere, we'll say north or west of Braintree. If you're living south, you can plug in 145.39.
Right, or 147.18.
1.8, the Bridgewater machine.
Pretty direct tie-in with Taunton.
Yeah, Bridgewater is kind of tough from this area. I don't know for a scanner listener unless they have an outside, but I know 3.9 works usually pretty well, the 3.9 machine. And they can actually hear, like we've talked about, the storm coming. It goes south of us, west of us, north of us, and it doesn't, but sometimes
actually, it's
it does.
Interesting, I think we talked about it before, but you get to hear people on the ground giving the actual report of what's happening on that particular side of town at that moment and everything else.
But anyways, and once again, it's just getting back in. And everything here, I mean, that's a complete radio station with a backup battery. Yeah. That's the backup battery to it.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and you know, years ago, you see some of the old World War II footage of the movies and these radio operators with the huge antennas in the air, you know, and backpacks probably weighing 70 or 80 pounds. And now they, you know.
This thing here probably weighs 5 pounds.
Yeah.
That's it.
Jeeps, we know for a fact that Jeeps that they parachute down, complete communications in a box. The whole thing.
Now we have it right. It probably has, and it has a lot more capability.
Oh, yeah. And it's amazing. It's a lot of fun. Our next test session will be at the The
September
Watson Library,
12th.
September 12th. Anybody that's interested to take their exam with us, they can go online and get some equipment. The books are online, AmericanARRL.org, and they list the various providers of books, whether the League, W5YI, Test Online. There's numerous that they can go and do some studying, come down, get your tech license. All this stuff, not too much of that right there, but that can work on. All this stuff here is just tech stuff. You can work around the world.
Right.
Great communications, great communications. The test isn't tough. The entrance level is just basically rules, regulations, and what bands you can operate in and stuff like that.
I'm going to try calling this guy here.
Okay, sure. Give it a shot. W9ZR?
ZN. Yeah.
ZN? Okay.
Oh, I don't know where he went. He was pretty strong.
Yeah, he was.
Someplace out in Wisconsin or something like that. So
Yeah,
he just
yeah,
evidently he just didn't hear us. We're only running 5 watts with a little antenna outside, but his signal was quite strong.
Yep.
A lot stronger than Steve was up on top of the mountaintop.
Yeah, but
earlier. You never know.
You still work them.
Right.
But anyways, getting back to the Watson, we're still down there, and anybody that's around on a Saturday morning would like to drop down and see us, we're only too happy to show you what we got working down there, show you some of the equipment, the antenna systems and everything else. And any groups, once again, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, senior groups, just get in touch with us at k1wn@aol.com, and we certainly be able to work something out, even if it's afternoons or even during the day. The people down at the Watson, Bill Hedlund and the mayor have been very good to us down there, so we'd be glad to accommodate any kind of, it's handicap accessible, and you just come in, look around, and we'd be glad to demonstrate amateur radio to you. So we got just a couple minutes left, Pi. Anything else you would like to add before we pull the plug for another week?
No, and the idea being that whenever we do these things on the IRLP, I think I'd like to just make sure that people that have, and everybody has internet access now, it seems, just to go on to irlp.net and take a look, and you can read, you can learn an awful lot just by going through some of the informational charts they have on there. And you know, you may have a relative someplace in another part of the doesn't cost. Now, you know, nowadays part of the used to be that, gee, you wouldn't have, you'd have long distance phone call charges, you know, if you had a family member that lived out on the West Coast or something. Well, now you don't quite have that as a, you know, people call everywhere for toll free. But it's always kind of a fun thing to be able to say, well, gee, I can talk, I don't have to tie up any telephone lines or anything like that. I could talk with my cousin, or, you know, in Redwood City, California. Or you could just, you know, do it directly right on the radio.
And you know, getting back to shortwave listening, years ago, and we only got a minute or so left, but years ago, I used to sit when I was a kid, my parents had the old Zenith Ocean radio, and I'd tune around. Now you can just, you know, go in and just listen to all this stuff, and it's just fantastic. You can, once again, you can listen to it all on the IRLP.
That's right.
Okay, that's about it, folks. Once again, say 7-3, thank you very much for tuning in. Anybody has any comments or anything, k1wn@aol.com. If anybody on YouTube that's watching and wants to make a contact with us using the IRLP or HF, just once again, k1wn@aol.com. Set up a sched with us and we'll acknowledge it. And we normally do this Thursdays at 10 o'clock in the morning, so that'll give you a little idea.
And if anyone that happens to be seeing some of this on YouTube, any one of the shows, and they'd like a better quality copy of it to be able to run on their local cable system, just contact us, same address, k1wn@aol.com, and we could put them right in the chute there.
Yeah, work it out with your cable provider. I mean, they got to have so much access to give back to the community, and we're doing it right here in Braintree with BCAM TV. So with enough said, as always, 7-3 for now. Ciao.
73, K1RV.